Now, there has been some progress made on the Ukraine peace negotiations. The US has said that the ball is now in Russia's court after Ukraine accepted the proposal for an immediate 30-day ceasefire in Saudi Arabia yesterday. Now, America has also resumed sharing military aid and intelligence for Ukraine, which is really important. But how do we think that Russia will respond? Henry, so far, we've been focused on, of course, that event in the Oval Office, Ukraine not having the cards to play, agreeing to this deal. But we haven't really been talking about Russia.
The reason we haven't been talking about Russia is because President Trump hasn't been talking about Russia. All the pressure has been on the Ukrainians. President Trump hasn't had a bad word to say about Vladimir Putin, the fact that the Russians are the aggressor, that they have had a maximalist position, they don't consider Ukraine to be a country. Now, it's a massive test of the Trump strategy. Is he really playing 4D chess, or is he hopelessly naive? And it's put President Putin into a bit of a corner now, because if he doesn't lean into this, then it's going to make things very, very difficult for Trump, and Trump will probably be forced to increase all kinds of aid to Ukraine, which is what the Russians don't want.
Dawn, do you think that this is the beginning of the end of the war, or do you think this is the sort of the long beginning of what may turn out to be long negotiations?
Well, I mean, the big question here is, do you trust Putin? He's gone back on everything else he's always said, to be fair, as has Donald Trump a lot of the time. And there's a huge difference between peace and winning a war. It depends on how much the Ukraine have to give up in this situation. At the moment, it seems like Ukraine are giving a lot up and Russia are taking everything they wanted in the first place. And if that's the end of it, and Zelensky agrees with it, then absolutely fine. But do you trust Putin to stick by what he's agreed? This is a ceasefire. We don't want any more. We'll settle for this, because I'm not sure I would.
Now, this is a 30-day ceasefire on land, sea and air. It comes with the fact that Ukraine are going to sign this minerals deal.
That's right.
The latest we've heard from Russia is that they are essentially thinking about it. But we've had them confirm over and over again that they would not accept, Henry, any outside troops in Ukraine.
No European boots on the ground.
European boots. So this coalition of the willing that Sir Keir Starmer keeps going on about, the French and the UK sending troops to keep the peace, Russia won't stand for that.
So they say, and President Trump says, I think Putin will agree. I've talked to him, he wants peace. Again, a massive test for the Trump strategy. We should give a shout out to Jonathan Powell, Tony Blair's former chief of staff, who is now the national security advisor. Apparently he's been working with the Ukrainians, prepping them on how to handle the Americans, how to handle Trump, how to handle Marco Rubio, and it appears to have succeeded, because they didn't necessarily do this kind of wargaming with Zelensky before that terrible day in the Oval Office, and we saw how it went. I don't blame Zelensky at all for standing up for his country, but we saw what happened. So let's wait and see. The Russians will have to give something. If they hold the line and say no, that will embarrass Trump, and Trump doesn't want to be embarrassed.
Well, nothing has been asked from them.
That's right, and that's a shocking part of that whole thing.
That is going to be interesting. And of course, what you said, Dawn, the fact that Vladimir Putin has broken every single agreement he's signed was the point that Volodymyr Zelensky was trying to make in the Oval Office when he was shut down by President Trump. Now, Trump has also been very busy expanding his trade war to cover the whole world. Now, he slammed 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminium imports to the US for today. Now, the EU has responded with counter tariffs on $26 billion of American goods. Trade war's not helping anyone, Dawn, is it?
No, it's really not helping anyone. And I think at the moment, the UK government are saying we are keeping a cool head. And I think when you're dealing with someone like Trump, who says a lot of things and then goes back on them straight away. It's testing you all the time, isn't he? So I think actually not rising to the bait and not doing a knee-jerk reaction is the right way to play this. So I think this government, our government, are actually playing it right for now. See how it develops.
Yeah, they've said so far they're not going to put on reciprocal tariffs for the time being.
Yes.
But Henry, the bit that, I mean, we're looking at what's happening at the US stock market and shares of all sorts of big companies are tumbling. What I don't understand, and I'll put my hands up and say, I don't have a business brain. I'm not good with business, hence I'm in this seat. But what I don't understand is Trump sees himself as a businessman. The only thing that even people who don't know about business know is what the markets hate is uncertainty.
Absolutely.
So when you're saying tariffs here, but actually not for auto companies, which is what he's done with Mexico and Canada, isn't it just this wrecking ball on the world economy?
That's right. He's just keeping people guessing, keeping people nervous. That might be, again, 4D chess, but it might be Trump doing for his country what he did for his businesses, i.e. wrecking them. You know, let's remember, Trump has had more business failures than you can shake a stick at. No, but it's absolutely true. If you go through his business career over the last 50 years, he's had more failures than successes. The problem is you can't do this with a country of 340 million people whom you depend on to keep spending. It's a demand, it's a consumer-led economy. And if you suppress demand, if people fear that they may not have a job, you know, federal workers and many others, fear that their company is going to stop hiring, stop buying, then demand will be suppressed and then you'll end up having a recession. And he didn't rule that out in his interview with Fox News the other day.